And we want to clear up something really important. Clean and organic does not mean acne safe.
I'm so happy you said that.
People think clean means it doesn't have pore cloggers and they don't bother checking it. Check everything, especially the clean and organics.
I was using all clean products and every single one of them was breaking me out. From the skincare I was using to the makeup I was using. You could be working with an integrative health practitioner, you can be working with a naturopath, you can be doing blood work and making all these amazing internal changes. But if you're still clogging your pores from the outside, you are just going to continue to be in the acne cycle.
Have to be honest with you, I try to stay away from having conversations about skincare because I find it to be a really difficult area to navigate because everyone has such personal needs and wants, and it's like a diet, you know? Like, yes. I can't listen to people talk about what they're doing for food because it again confuses other people. Like, at the end of the day, you really have to dive deep into what is going on internally for you and what it is that you need. So when I tried ClearStem, I know that the whole kind of niche around ClearStem is acne and I don't want to say anti-aging anymore because I said that word is out for me for 2025.
It's the category of anti-aging, but it's like aging gracefully, aging better, supporting our skin barrier, supporting the health of our skin.
Exactly. Okay, yeah. Healthy aging. Right. So acne and healthy aging. Yes. I don't have any concerns around acne. Never really battled with any acne. I have battled with other stuff, but not with acne. So when I tried the product, I was like, it's probably not going to do much for me because I didn't know the philosophy behind it. I tried the product and I was like, it helped. I couldn't really understand, but it's like came together with my skin in a way that brought some brightness to me. So I was like, okay, they're onto something. This is because usually you don't experience that from using a couple of times, like a product. So then when I went to learn about ClearStem, I was like, okay, there is a true like knowledge, there's a true philosophy behind it that I want to dive into because you coming together to create this brand is what made me so excited to sit down and talk to you. So before your journey and everything that brought us ClearStem, I want to hear a little bit about your background and kind of your journey to this venture.
Thank you so much. And you described it perfectly. Yeah. So ClearStem is both anti-aging and anti-acne at the same time. Use whatever words you want, but that is the concept of the formulas. That is what they will do for you at the same time. So hi, I'm Danielle Gronich, the acne guru and CEO co-founder of ClearStem. I also own San Diego Acne Clinic, and I've had that business for about 10 years. As you can imagine, all we do is treat acne. So we are extreme specialists in it. And we generally take cases on that conventional dermatology hasn't worked for. So we get the really hard cases. I've become an extreme acne specialist, and it was due to my own struggle with acne. I'm extremely acne prone. Acne is hereditary.
Really? Mm-hmm. I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah. So generally, like one person, either your mother or father, will have struggled with it at some point. For me, both of my parents struggled with it, along with everyone in our family, grade 4 cystic acne on both sides well into adulthood. So I never stood a chance. My skin was absolutely like disfiguringly bad, like especially when I went off to college because I got on the wrong birth control, started eating really crummy dorm food, started partying a little bit, wearing makeup to cover the acne, not washing face, just like the perfect storm. So it started this like journey into nonstop medications and nonstop dermatologist visits and getting nowhere, but being spent years on medication, harming myself and not getting anywhere. Did Accutane 3 separate times. My acne came right back due to pore-clogging ingredients and a couple of things in my diet. We can touch on that later. Spent years on spironolactone. It would work until it didn't. You got a bunch of side effects. Switched birth control a ton of times. We all know how that goes. So I am our customer through and through, and that is why I became a specialist. I happen to have a biology background. Studied biology, genetics, and immunology all through school. Wanted to go into medicine because that's like my family history. But because of what I was going through with my acne journey, I was like, I don't want to join the medical profession as we know it because it seems to be just prescription writing. And then when my acne came back again when I was 30, after the third round of Accutane, I was like, screw this, I'll have to figure it out myself. I became an esthetician, solely focused on acne. Met Kayleigh as one of my first patients, and here we are today.
The story of you meeting each other because of acne, I mean, you coming to Danielle for it is insane. So what is your story with acne?
My name is Kayleigh. I'm an integrative health practitioner, nutritionist, and published author in the world of nutrition. And at the time, this was over 10 years ago, I was really aggressively struggling with acne. I had made the personal decision to go off birth control. Like, okay, I'd been on it for 10 years at this point, and something just didn't feel right in my body to stay on it. And so I got off, and in a matter of a few months, my skin completely broke out with bright red, inflamed, angry cystic acne on both sides of my cheek and down my neck. I had never dealt with this. I dealt with very typical teenage acne where I put the harsh creams on it, it ripped apart my face, and my acne went away, but never like this. And so I really did not know what to do. I didn't have a proper skincare routine at the time. I just washed with the drugstore, wash and moisturizer. After about 8 or 9 months, I decided to go to the doctor because it was truly starting to ruin the quality of my life. I didn't want to leave the house. I was packing on makeup, and on a normal day, I don't wear a lot of makeup at all, if any. And so this was really abnormal for me to be not wanting to leave the house and being terrified of anyone seeing me without thick cover-up makeup on. And so I went to the doctor, primary care doctors first, and I actually went to 4 different ones, and the solutions they were giving me were all the same. Go back on birth control, and when I didn't want to do that, go on 6 months of antibiotics.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's a long time.
So let's rip your gut bacteria apart.
Exactly. And that was not lining up with anything I was learning in school at the time. I'm like, it doesn't feel right either, because I would be in the doctor's office like crying. I'd be like, I don't think you understand. Like, something's wrong with me. Like, this is not normal. They're like, well, your hormones just must be unbalanced. Let's just try this. Or it must just be bacteria. Let's just try this. So I decided not to do that. Then I went to a couple different dermatologists. Same answers from there. It was so severe, they didn't even want to put me on spironolactone. It was just straight to Accutane. I didn't want to do that. My lymph nodes actually became so swollen because of the inflammation from the acne. So I went to an ENT, and they wanted to monitor it for a few months. And if it didn't go down, they wanted to remove my lymph nodes, like schedule surgery to remove the lymph nodes underneath my jawline. And
that's insane.
None of this felt right to me. I was like, I just want to know why. Like, what's clearly something's causing this. What is it? I Googled like acne in San Diego. Thank God up popped San Diego Acne Clinic. Thank God for Danielle's SEO. Like, literally me typing in San Diego acne and it coming up. I met with Danielle, and my whole life was transformed to what are the root causes of acne. I met with Danielle. We talked about pore-clogging ingredients. We talked about the over-supplementation I was doing that was causing the look of hormonal acne. We talked about certain things in my diet that I thought were so healthy, and in the grand scheme of things can be healthier, but they are big acne triggers. I got on a proper regimen, and in 2 months, after this was like almost a year of struggling, after 2 months, my skin was completely clear with no scar damage. It was insane.
And you mentioned that you struggled earlier on, like as a teenager, with like the regular acne here and there. How old were you when you got that flare up?
I was 24 going on 25.
Okay, because I think there's a misconception that, acne happens when you're in those like teenage years. And then when it comes back when you're kind of an adult already, I think a lot of people just
It was alarming. You don't expect it.
Right.
Like, there's so many women who struggle with acne in their 20s and 30s, and they're so alarmed by it because they think it's supposed to end during the teenage years. And we now know there's like our hormones change so much as women, and there's just a lot more things going on in the world right now, stress-wise, ingredient-wise, ingredients in skincare that really affect our skin more than it did 20 plus years ago.
Which is so hard to navigate. I feel like I'm sure so many people can relate. It feels like everything is out there to get us.
That is a function of social media.
Really?
Yes.
I mean, that's my world,
Well,
so I'm just like, it's not avocado oil.
Please don't go after.
I mean, there are things that need to be paid attention to, but most people slept through all of their science classes and don't have a proper way to think about these things. Correlation versus causation is completely lost on most people, meaning two things can occur at the same time. It doesn't mean that one caused the effect of the other, right? It's just like, I took this and then I got this, and there's like a whole body of thought that's missing from the conversation. And that's how most influencers and creators A lot of them do it, not all of them, right? And it's, they have to grow their account, so they need a clickbaity title.
Right.
It has to be something that's alarming to our lizard brain and our human psyche, something that spikes fear, because fear is the strongest emotion.
Yeah.
And then voila, you have these concepts that are new, and that's all you know about the concept. So you think that's true, you embrace it, and you're like, oh my God, if I have a seed oil, I'm going to die. And it just creates this panic and this fight or flight mode that is then perpetuating the illnesses that we're trying to remedy.
Yeah.
And, that's part of what ClearStem does. We never go toxic with our content, even though we could have grown a lot faster if we did. Because it's just, we need to all calm the F down, calm the cortisol.
I know.
Be rational about how
what's
you
the
approach
biggest
things.
cause of all the health issues? Stress.
Right?
Yeah, exactly. Stress throws our hormones out of whack. And so much as this hormonal acne, like there are very distinctive things that you can tie it back to, but stress is a huge component of it all.
You're educating me right now when you're saying that there are all these things out there that people don't understand the cause and effect. Can you give me an example of something you see happening right now, you've seen recently on social media, where you're just like, people need to...
I try to, I'm on a social media detox right now. I see this a lot in how we talk about.
That's why your skin is glowing.
That's why I'm so happy. Okay, so here's a big misconception that affects the acne community. It's that acne is all hormonal because hormones are always present. Of course, hormones are always present. If you're alive, your hormones are doing things, and yes, it impacts your skin. That doesn't mean that there's something per se wrong with your hormones, so that you just can't do anything about it, or that the only solution is to go on a hormone modifier like spironolactone. Everything we do in our day-to-day life, from how we sleep to what we eat to what we watch, all of that affects our hormones. So we can modify the things in our daily life and then have a more balancing effect on our hormones. For example, so many women are on supplements for their health. Like, this is why sexy people get acne, right? That's like one of the ClearStem talking points. Sexy people get acne. Why? We're working out. We are taking supplements. We are doing things, we're trying things to better ourselves. A lot of supplements have an impact on hormones. Vitamin D itself is regarded as a hormone. A lot of people are taking that and don't even know it. Too much B12 can spike testosterone. Too much zinc can spike testosterone. The funny thing about that is testosterone, when it's spiked, is one of the leading causes of hormonal acne around the mouth. But women that are taking too many supplements, or it's too high of a dose, or they're taking multiple supplements that contain something like B12, they don't know they're accidentally spiking it. So they go to the doctor. They're like, this is hormonal. It's around your mouth. It gets worse during your cycle. Okay, it's hormonal, here's some pills, and yet the underlying cause is their vitamins. So vitamin D itself, if you take too much, can actually create hormonal acne around the chin. But again, dosage is everything. So it's not just as simple as taking this will cause this. It's dosage, it's how you're metabolizing it, it's the cofactors and what else you're doing. That, unfortunately, requires people to think, and the mind doesn't like that. So that's part of the ClearStem process, is to make the education part simple and digestible, so people can actually get where they want to be and stay there. Because you can go take some pills and feel better for a while. I mean, Accutane works, pretty well for some people. It's gnarly to go through. You get a horrible purge, and it can work. It can be like the light at the end of the tunnel for some people, but for a lot of women, it comes right back. So you're back at square one. You did all that damage. You're re-devastated because you didn't understand the root causes of your skin. Let's skip that. Let's identify what's breaking us out in our diet and do an elimination test. That's what ClearStem educates on, and that's what's missing in modern dermatology.
So how does it educate on it?
We coach people on what foods that might be a trigger. For example, eggs. Eggs can be a superfood for some people. Like, for you, it's fine.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
it is.
like,
No, but it's one of the top 6
Right.
allergens. If you ever have a health issue and you work with an integrative or functional medicine practitioner, one of the first things they do is have you go on an elimination diet for the top allergens. There's nuts, there's soy, there's gluten, sugar detox. Eggs is another one of those. So Kayleigh's lymph nodes that were so swollen from her acne that they wanted to remove, that was caused by eggs. She removed them, and it started to go down that week and then stayed down.
Fast. Yeah.
Yeah, I can't eat eggs at all. Kayleigh's a little different than me. She's a little less acne prone than I am. She can have eggs once or twice a week. I can have them maybe once a month before I notice a change in my skin. So it's different for everyone, and doing an elimination test for, call it 6 weeks to 2 months, that's the way you figure out what the triggers are for you.
When you're saying elimination, that's with food, but I feel like we're consuming so many things, like you mentioned yourself, right? The supplements, all these different things that we do. Where do you go first? So elimination diet will be the first thing to do. And then do you touch the supplements at all? Do you stop doing that?
I always suggest if you're taking a bunch of supplements, like we both do, you should see our countertops. We make that simple too. Basically, you can go and take the quiz on our website. It'll ask you how much B12, zinc, vitamin D, and biotin you're taking. Those are the 4 things that can create acne in excess. So it's like, okay, those are easy. Look at your back, your labels. That's done. So you can do that. If you're not sure if any of your supplements are working for you anymore, take a break. You're not going to fall apart if you take 2 months off of your supplements. And if anything, that's a good thing because then you focus on eating better. So that's one way to do it. You know, with skincare, we do an elimination process about pore clogging ingredients. And that is the most important thing. That's step 1 for everyone. And we made that so simple because we built a checker. It's free on our website. Even if you don't use our products, you can totally use the checker. You just copy and paste the ingredients to whatever you're using, skincare, makeup, hair care. See if there's a pore clogger. It'll come back in red. You know that's clogging your pores. Get it out of your life.
How many of them are there? Like, what are the common ones?
About 100, I would say.
God.
Yeah, and more.
But you don't
kind
need
of
to memorize them.
Right.
You don't need to memorize them. Like we do have them individually all listed on our website if you want to learn more. But the best part about the checker is you can just look up all your products on the product page, copy and paste the ingredient deck, put it in, and it'll show up in red which ones are pore clogging.
So when you went to see Danielle and she told you about the pore clogging ingredients, when you went to check your makeup and skincare, did you find it in literally every product you use?
Yes, and they were expensive products. And we want to clear up something really important for people before she goes into like all of her products. Clean and organic does not mean acne safe.
I'm so happy you said that.
People think clean means it doesn't have pore cloggers and they don't bother checking it. Check everything, especially the clean and organic stuff.
So when I met Danielle, I was at the point in my life where I'd switched to all clean products because I truly thought that clean would help with my acne. I felt like marketing was saying that a ton, right? There were so many clean beauty stores popping up and it was like, oh, if you're struggling with acne, if you don't want to go on medication, then you switch to clean products. Like that's the story that I had heard. And I didn't know at the time that clean didn't mean acne safe because like we were talking about the pore clogging ingredients, there's a ton of pore clogging ingredients in more mainstream conventional skincare, makeup, but there's also a ton of clean pore clogging ingredients like coconut oil, shea butter, algae derivatives. And so I was washing my face in coconut oil. We were told to, like so many people were told to do that. We were told it was antibacterial, all these different things. And we love cooking in coconut oil. Coconut oil is a great healthy fat. It has a great high smoke point if you're searing. So it's a great thing to cook with, but for your face, it is pore clogging. And so I was using all clean products when I met Danielle, and every single one of them was breaking me out. From the skincare I was using to the makeup I was using. And then a really surprising one for people is hair products, specifically hair conditioner.
Really?
Yeah. So if someone is breaking out on their back, their neck, possibly their scalp, or heavy on their sleep side, it's typically because of hair conditioner. You wash your hair and hair conditioner is meant to coat your hair. It's meant to condition your hair. So when you're sleeping, that gets on your pillowcase. It's not your pillowcase's fault. You don't have to wash your pillowcase every single night. You're moving around on your pillowcase and then that's getting on your face. And then when you're in the shower or sweating, you have your hair down or you have it in a ponytail and you're sweating and it's clogging up the pores of your back. And so that was the biggest thing for me, is removing all pore cloggers on top of removing supplements. But that is the first place for everyone to start, is removing pore clogging ingredients. The reason why that's so important and the reason why it has to be number one is you can be doing all the amazing things internally. You could be working with an integrative health practitioner. You can be working with a naturopath. You can be doing blood work and making all these amazing internal changes. But if you're still clogging your pores from the outside, you are just going to continue to be in the acne cycle. So that's the first thing to remove and take care of. That way, you know, as you're going through everything else and you're eliminating, you know, I'm not clogging my pores from the outside. I'm not causing this from an external perspective. effective.
Right. So
I
it's
have
not
that
the
checked.
products.
It's not the
now
products.
it can go in.
Exactly.
Got it.
And then I feel the easiest thing to remove at that point is supplements, because that's more just removing things. It's doing an audit, laying out all your supplements, seeing where you're taking excess amounts of vitamin D, zinc, B12, and biotin. And then we recommend a 60-day elimination for food. And then you can slowly bring things back in and see how it affects you. To what Danielle said earlier, it might be that you can only have eggs once a month, that your body just really doesn't react to them well. They can be a superfood, but they can also be inflammatory for some people. So it's just, again, back to the bio individuality, how everyone is different. That's something that you just want to test for yourself and see.
I'm always so curious because, when my mother comes over and she makes these food that I grew up on, and now that I have all this information, I'm like, don't use this oil, don't do this, don't cook this, don't. And she's like, how are you here alive, thriving, looking healthy if you ate all this food and you're okay? Because even the case with eggs, right? Like, I'm sure you grew up eating eggs, eggs. Food can start being inflammatory at like a certain age. Is that something that you always battle with? You didn't pay attention to?
That's an amazing question. So some things are inflammatory depending on how often we're eating them. So that's like the first thing to understand. Like sugar is a perfect example. If you're having a rough day and you want a bite of a Snickers, go for it. It's not a big deal. If you're having a Snickers every single day, different story, right? So dosage is a huge part of that conversation. When we're younger, though, we have different mechanisms that are keeping us healthy and keeping us in that state of like where inflammation doesn't bother us as much. Like our hormones are different, our cells are behaving differently. We haven't accumulated any of the cellular damage that's associated with aging, so things just function a little bit better.
And I want to talk more about the birth control because yesterday, just so you guys know, we had a beautiful dinner here in Miami. We had some amazing group of girls, and I found that so many came to both of you to talk about the pill. Yes. Because I don't know how that happened, but the pill became the answer for acne. I'm not sure what's the premise behind it.
Money. The ideal business for... Okay, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but just follow the money.
Listen,
it's very simple.
We listen and we don't judge.
Yeah, so my dad owned a pharmaceutical company. I can actually speak to this intelligently, and he was one of the good guys. Basically, any business model, you want something that the customer is on, that every customer can be a candidate for, your total addressable market. And then you want them on subscription monthly. You want it to be a part of their daily life that they accept as true as part of their daily life. And you want them to just have a recurring subscription where it's just like, they're always buying it, right? Birth control is the perfect answer to that. It was also developed in a time where medicine doesn't understand women's bodies that well.
Yeah.
It's developed mainly by men. Men ran our medical system up until 20 years ago. And a lot of women's bodies are understood. Women don't get included in a lot of tests like medical studies and stuff because our natural hormonal cycles create a lot of variables. And when you're conducting scientific tests, you need to remove variables. So there's not a ton of excess or thorough research around how everything is best for women. It's just what will work temporarily for the symptom that we're trying to address, and that makes sense from a business perspective. You're on it every month, every day, and it's automatically a recurring subscription.
So did they just find out by fluke that it treats acne as well?
Yeah, so birth control can operate a little differently.
There's different birth controls.
Depending on which one that you're on. But one that is a lot of time prescribed for acne is the one that suppresses testosterone. So very similarly to when someone's put on spironolactone for acne, it's a testosterone androgen suppressant, so male hormone suppressant, because one of the big leading hormonal causes of hormonal acne is that surge of testosterone. So women who are struggling with PCOS, they have higher levels of testosterone. We like to dig even deeper. Why is there high levels of testosterone? And let's focus on the why versus just suppressing a testosterone for 10, 15 years. I was on it for 10 years. I speak with some women who've been on it for 15, 20 years, terrified to get off. And that was me too. I'd heard so many horror stories. I knew I wanted it for myself to get off of it. But we walk a lot of women through that process and support them with the education surrounding it. So we've learned so much more about birth control, how when we're on it, it not only suppresses a lot of nutrients in our body. So we have, for 10, 15 years, a bunch of our testosterone suppressed, but also a lot of nutrients in our body. It also heavily contributes to our overall toxic load. So I like to use the metaphor that our toxic load of our body is a bucket, and you're pouring things into it, right? You're pouring birth control into it. If you're on spironolactone, you're pouring that into it. If you're regularly drinking alcohol, you're pouring that into it. If you're going through stress, family stress, even pregnancy stress on the body, right? You're pouring that into it. And eventually the bucket starts tipping over. And that can manifest in a lot of different ways for people. Acne is a big one of them. So when people's toxic load buckets are just so full of compounding, doing all these things to our bodies for years, it starts tipping over and flowing out through our body. Again, acne, eczema, psoriasis, different inflammation in the body, rashes throughout the entire body. Again, we mainly speak to the acne community around this. And so birth control is one of them. So when you're getting off birth control, we do have some supports to talk about.
Which is amazing.
Yeah, so supplement and lifestyle.
Yeah.
Supplement, we developed an amazing supplement called Mind Body Skin. Anyone who's struggling with acne can absolutely use it. It's also really helpful when transitioning off birth control. So it can be an added support. It focuses on the 6 key main areas in the body as they contribute to acne. So we have hormonal support in there. We have DIM and B5. We have liver and inflammation support in there. We have vitamin A, which helps regulate the skin's ability to naturally exfoliate, so your pores are not clogging as fast. And so that's going to be really supportive while getting off birth control, especially for your liver. The liver and inflammation support and the DIM and the B5 in there are so incredible.
So I want to make sure that we give kind of a clear advice to a lot of girls that are, because I'm personally getting a lot of DMs asking me if I was on the pill. I stopped the pill at 16. So I haven't been on it. I don't have any advice to give, but for the ones that want to get off of it, that kind of the fear. First of all, let's talk about the fear of dealing with that fear. How do you go about that when you decided to stop? How did you handle kind of the mental worry of it all?
The light on the other end of the tunnel is the feeling of how in tune with your body that you are after birth control. I feel is life-changing. I now look back to how I operated in my body on birth control, and I was so disconnected from my body. I was disconnected from my body and my hormones, because your hormones are essentially being synthetically regulated. It's not like you're not having a proper period, you're not having a proper ovulation. It's all really funky going on in there. It's not normal cycles that are happening. And I felt so disconnected. Yes, it was a struggle when I got off birth control because I didn't have the right supports. I didn't know any of this when I was getting off birth control. So it was a little bit of a wild ride for me. I wish I had kind of like this checklist that we have now.
Yeah.
But the feeling after, even during the process, when I was really aggressively struggling with my acne, I'm so grateful for, because it put me in tune with my body. I could feel everything again. I could feel when I would make different changes and shifts to my health, I would feel the way that impacted me. And I was just so much more connected to my period and my cycles. So I feel like that is the light on the other side of the tunnel. And knowing, I also like not relying on anything externally for my health. I like my body is my body. And again, it helps you not rely on anything else, which can be so empowering, for you.
That's a great word, empowering. Danielle, when Kayleigh came to you, or in general, when you have women that come to you and they say, okay, I need to get off the pill, how do you go about that in terms of the advice you give?
So it is different for everyone, but I would say the foundational checklist applies to everyone. But if they want to get off birth control, I have them start Mind Body Skin about at least 2 months, hopefully 3 or 4 months before they get off, because it just makes the body start processing things more optimally. It gives time for their skin to, the desquamation process, the natural exfoliation process of our skin cells. That's what vitamin A helps with. You need time to build it up a little bit, and you need the right amounts. And, DIM helps the body process out like toxic estrogens. That takes a little bit of time. So you want to give yourself a few months to be on Mind Body Skin or something equivalent, so that your systems can be functioning optimally. And then once you get off the birth control, the rebound effect won't be so bad. And then, so the rebound effect has to do with testosterone rebound. What are the things we can do to not spike our testosterone accidentally? avoiding like energy drinks, stimulants. Coffee is a big trigger for some people. It's for some people.
Yeah.
Other people,
Don't
it's
worry,
great.
not for me. I don't break out from. We're safe.
Yeah, no, I break out from coffee. I'm extremely acne prone. Coffee speeds me up so much, and the way that I process caffeine. So caffeine has a really rapid like onset effect for me. Like I know that from doing proper genetic testing and blood work, which we're big fans of. But some people, it's just a little bit different. So anything that spikes your testosterone you need to be aware of that if you're prone to hormonal acne, and especially if you're going to get off of the birth control. So it's more about just that conversation and then just staying calm. And there's also the underlying psychological things like, okay, if I break out, what do I think is going to happen? What's going to change in my life? Are my friends going to stop being my friends? Is my boyfriend going to leave?
Do you have a lot of conversations around that, like the mental kind of wellness?
One-on-one with my clients, yes, I do, because so much of everything is psychological. Right. We do try to have that conversation when we're doing like a live master class or talking to people. It's harder to do on, if someone's just taking our skin quiz. So we try to have that conversation.
Tell me about the blood work. You mentioned that there's a blood work component to ClearStem.
This was a huge passion project that it finally came to fruition October 2023. We both are we love blood work. It's great to understand what's actually going inside your body. And for the last 10 years, we've sent people to external specialists. So we've had a lot of customers that come to us where ClearStem and eliminating everything gets them 90% of the way there. They are clearer than they ever have been in their entire life, but there's still something triggering their acne. When that happens, it's clear that something very bio-individual internal is going on, right? It's not something that like the elimination diets and things that apply to, again, 90% of people can fix. It's usually mold, it's parasites, it's underlying infections, it's yeast, it's bacteria overgrowth, things like that. So we created this amazing blood work panel. It tests for over 86 markers, tests for fasting insulin levels. It looks at androgens. It looks at, again, infections, yeast, bacteria, all these different key areas of the body. So not only is it so beneficial for acne, but ton of skin issues. I have friends that come to me where their husband is struggling with psoriasis that it can be so helpful for as well. Because again, everyone's internal infections.
So you curated.
Yeah, so it's 86 markers. So people order it, they get their blood work done, and then it goes to our acne lab specialists that take individual time on every single person's blood work and creates a custom protocol for people. So they'll get a custom protocol.
Amazing.
Yeah. And then they go into our membership. So everyone that does it gets 3 free months in our membership because every protocol is 3 months. So they get the time of their entire protocol free in our membership. We have over 1,000 members at this point now that have gone through and stayed in the membership. And it's so fun how encouraging everyone is. So not only the membership, it has a ton of educational videos. So if you want to understand even more deeply your blood work, you can watch all of the videos and have all the markers described to you. It has different protocols in there, but it also has the chat group function and seeing everyone in there encourage everyone, because sometimes for the detox protocols, people have had underlying infections for over 10 years. So there can be a bit of a detox purge when they're going through the protocol. It typically lasts about 2 weeks. And when you're I love going in and reading the chat because there'll be one woman that's like, I'm just starting my protocol. I'm starting to purge. Like, oh, this is this is really tough. And the other girls will be like, don't worry. Like, it only lasted 2 weeks. Like, I promise you there's light on the end of the tunnel. Your skin's going to be glowing up. You're going to be so happy you went through this.
The power of community is
yes. And watching them support is incredible. And then they have weekly office hours that they can attend where our acne lab specialists get on video for a few hours and everyone can pop in and out and ask questions. And then there's the opportunity to schedule one-on-ones as well.
I love it. I love that it is, because I believe that medicine in general, anything to do with skin, with internal, everything needs to be personalized. Right now, when you go to the doctor, you don't feel like there's an aspect of it really. There's just like 3 or 4 solutions. And I don't want to vilify. There's room for doctors, medical doctors everywhere. But I think it's so important to build a system where people can feel like you're attending to me specifically and my needs. You also mentioned that you do have a dermatologist on your board, on your team?
Yes. Okay. Yes. His name's Dr. Omar Ibrahim. He's from Chicago Dermatology. He's fantastic. So dermatologists are not all the same bucket of people, right? There's the conventional ones that got their education a long time ago, and nutrition wasn't even a part of the conversation, right? And they're going to have a certain way of thinking, especially culturally, or where they're at in the country, or what they see, et cetera, et cetera. Everyone's going to have their different views of how to prescribe the health that they are treating, right? So then there's other dermatologists that are like, something's missing here. They're like, I know as a smart human that what I eat impacts my skin, yet it's not being talked about in medical school. The average physician program gets between 11 and 20 hours of nutritional education in their entire 4 years. That's it. And it's not about how to be healthy. It's about contraindications for the medications they'll be prescribing.
Yeah.
So you can see the big gap here. And then also education on vitamins and supplements is not wide at all. And everyone's taking supplements that are impacting their body systems, and how that's impacting their body system is completely ignored in the average appointment. It's just 7 to 12 minutes of prescription writing, and then they're on to the next one. And most doctors are miserable with this, and we have such empathy for them because that's not what they got into this profession to do. So we want to express a huge gratitude and understanding and empathy for the people that chose to heal other people as their profession. We're all trying to help people, us and dermatologists, we're all trying to help people with their skin so they can lead a better life. We're just doing it in different ways, and sometimes that's combative with the old school derms. There's this old one on TikTok who like gaslights people if they say that food impacts their skin. She's like, it might just be a rash, and it's like, you need to retire.
Yeah,
but then there's other derms that are integrative dermatologists, or they're more functional thinking.
There's a lot more of
there's
that.
There's a lot more of that emerging.
Yeah.
And so one of them found us. So that we do all of our clinical testing at is run by this really great woman, and her brother is a dermatologist, and she has been telling them, oh my God, this company ClearStem, they also do the testing for Nutrafol. Like this testing facility is a big deal. They're like, ClearStem has been running all their tests with us. Their clinicals are insane. Their dedication to efficacy is insane. We haven't seen anything like this for the acne market in a decade. He caught wind of that, became curious, did his own research, and now he's like on our, I want to call it board. Yeah, he's like fractional, if you will. So, I mean, and we have other people, a derm NP just joined our acne lab panel as another practitioner because it's growing so much. And this is a really interesting thing. People in the conventional derm space, whether it's an NP or a traditional derm, if they start to wonder and talk about the conversation as being bigger and including diet and paying attention to vitamins, they actually get ostracized and punished by their peers. It's unreal. So that's what happened to our new derm NP who joined our acne lab panel, our new practitioner. She literally got ostracized from her last dermatology clinic that she worked at, and she just knew she was right, and she started being a one-off coach for people. I believe she was doing some consulting on the side, and she comes to all of our events, and we love talking to her, and now she's working with us. So we are attracting the forward thinkers of the dermatology community.
I mean, I'm excited for you to disrupt the market, because I think the acne market in general, like from what I remember, when I think about acne, I think about Proactive, which I don't even know if it's still around, but I just remember people were talking about how it burned their faces, and that's it for me. So it's so refreshing to see that there's like other ways to treat your skin with a problem that a lot of people deal with. Let's talk about some of the myths with acne and with skincare in general, because again, we get served so much information online. I get to see videos of 10-year-olds using retinols and things. We were talking about it yesterday at dinner.
Yeah, the 10-year-olds at Sephora buying retinols.
That scares me. And I was telling Kayleigh, I was like, I think there's going to be a time, hopefully soon, where there's going to start, like, products will have age restrictions to them. Because that should be the case, if you ask me. Like an 8-year-old shouldn't be able to go and buy products that are not only hormone disruptive, but also doing God knows what to her skin. So where do you see that going?
That would be extremely interesting if there was age limitations. I had never thought of that before. I think that just comes down to, I want to say parenting, but that seems, you have to educate your kid on like, okay, and a lot of times kids don't want to hear it from their parents. I get it. But it's like, if your 8-year-old is buying something and using it, you have control over that. If they're eating something that is, bad for them. If it's outside the home, there's not much you can do, but you control what's being bought and purchased inside the home. So I think it's just parents being a little more in tune with their kids and be like, why do you want to use this? What do you think you're doing with your skin? Like, what are you trying to do, sweetie? And just trying to get to the understanding of what their kid is actually seeking.
Yeah.
And then maybe it will stop this compulsive behavior, because we are seeing this compulsiveness with like 13-year-olds going and buying a ton of stuff at Sephora. And, I have friends that have kids at that age, and they're just like, their kids will get straight A's as long as they can go get their credit card and go to Sephora. It's like this like compulsive, addictive behavior. And it's like, let's get to what's underneath that.
Yeah.
Anyway, there's some things that are, okay for kids to use, like sunscreen and a good cleanser. But then there's other stuff where it's like, yeah, you shouldn't use that. Then again, you got to learn. You learn by doing. So I don't think any harm is going to befall the kids.
Right.
They're just going to get the same chemical burns that the adults use when they use really harsh stuff.
Yeah.
And it'll heal. It's fine.
Yeah.
But there's one thing, speaking of chemical burn, that I think gets overprescribed, undereducated on, and causes so much unnecessary harm is Retin-A. Most estheticians hate Retin-A. So there's two different kinds. There's the cream version, the white one, and then there's the gel version. They can both be very, very drying, and they cause a little bit of peeling and irritation and redness, and they can both cause a purge. That said, some people get over the purge and then they're happy. Other people, especially with the white version, it can destroy their skin. I've seen it 100 times and experienced it myself multiple times. The active ingredient in it is the vitamin A component that makes your skin shed. That's what the peeling comes from. But the base that they used is one of the filler agents is called isopropyl myristate. That is one of the worst pore clogging ingredients out there. It's a common filler agent that companies use because it creates like a nice kind of emollient feeling, but it clogs pores at the same time. So I've seen a ton of women use the white version of Retin-A, start breaking out like crazy. They think it's a purge. They keep going. Their derm says, just keep going. It's a purge, implying that it's temporary, and then it never stops. So they've got red, irritated skin, more new acne. It's painful, and it's a year in, and they're still breaking out, and it's because it's still clogging their pores at the same time. That conversation around pore cloggers is not being had with the average derm because it's not taught about in medical school.
So what would be an alternative for someone that is looking for a retinol of any kind?
So there's different types of retinols. There's different formulas. There's different strengths. There's different blends. Not all retinols are bad. There's some that people love, and that's fantastic. We just want people to use what works for them and what's right for their skin, and ultimately what makes them happy. We're not losing sleep at night if someone's using a retinol. So it's like, do you, boo?
What I do love though, so retinol just causes,
Retin-A, this is how
Retin-A is the prescription version of it.
This is how uninformed I am, okay? I'm like, and I always feel like I'm so behind on all the things. I'm like, everyone's doing lasers, they're doing these, I have no idea. Like I'm so.
Which good, your skin is glowing. So, like less is more. Too.
Right.
Yeah, it's your barrier is very, very healthy, so you shouldn't be doing anything aggressive. If your skin is behaving well and your barrier is intact, don't do anything aggressive.
You see, that's a great suggestion for anyone out there.
Yes.
Because we're all, there's been this whole brainwash about prevention, right? So you see like the conversation about Botox. People, I had girlfriends that started doing Botox at 22. Did they need it? No. But it was preventative. It was like a hot word. Same thing with lasers. Like all these different procedures that people do think that this is going to help them, but maybe at the moment it looks good. I don't know what's going to be repercussion in the future.
It can cause so much damage to the skin, especially any heat-based lasers.
Yes, a high heat can have long-term consequences.
Especially doing those at such a young age, just not a fan. And to what you're asking before, the Retin-A is the prescription version of retinol, so it's really, really strong. Which is something I was thinking about when you're asking about myths. I feel like people think the myth is that stronger is better, or harsher is better, or if it burns, it's working. And back to the old school way of dealing with acne with topicals, just something that's really, really drying for your skin. That's where we come in really differently. We focus on ingredients that actually get in and dissolve the clog. So retinols just cause your skin to hyperexfoliate. Our product, like Clarity Serum, we love our Clarity Serum. It's our mandelic acid serum, which I was talking to some of the girls about it last night, and they're like, we love mandelic. And I was like, you know what's up, because mandelic acid, it's like the Goldilocks of acid. So you have salicylic, you have mandelic, you have glycolic.
Okay.
Mandelic is gentle but effective. And so you put on our mandelic acid serum. You always want to let it sit. So you want to use it in the evening. You wash your face. You scrub your face a little bit with our vitamin scrub. It's the gatekeeper for your serums. You put on the Clarity Serum on bare skin. It actually dissolves the clogs that are in your pores. You let it sit for about 10 to 15 minutes. That's when it activates. If you put something else on top right away, it's going to neutralize it. It's not going to work anymore. So you want to let it sit.
So follow directions.
Yep, follow directions.
Yes.
You let it sit for about 10 to 15 minutes, and then you want to use all the repairing and moisturizing things. So like our Cell Renew Serum, Bounce Back, our Hydro Glow, our Hydro Berry, our Golden Hour. And that's the thing about acne and the myth is we don't have to dry out and burn our skin. We can use a quality ingredient like mandelic acid, dissolve the clog, to actually help with the acne. And then we want to moisturize because skin cannot heal in a dry and inflamed environment.
Yeah.
So if you're just drying out your skin after because you believe the myth that that'll work, you're actually not creating a healthy environment for your skin to heal. And the repercussions of that is faster scar damage, faster and more intense scar damage, pigmentation, faster and deeper wrinkle development. That's what happens when you do not restore your skin barrier and you don't moisturize. So you want to focus on those correctives like the vitamin scrub and Clarity, and then all of the repairing and moisturizing products to then help restore your skin barrier. That way you're doing everything at once. Instead of feeling like you have to treat your acne, blowtorch your skin, and then go to anti-aging, gracefully aging well, you can actually do it all at the same time, which again, you're helping your wrinkles not develop as deeper. You're helping that scar damage not even form in the first place instead of worrying about trying to fix it later. And that's what's so helpful, especially because most aging products, so most products that are marketing towards aging, they're typically filled with a lot of pore clogging ingredients. So a lot of people will, again, focus on their acne and then they'll switch to more aging products and they'll end up reclogging their pores. And then it's just this cycle back and forth, back and forth.
It's supposed to work together.
It can work together.
So for me, what's been working with the ClearStem is the hydration part. Because again, I mentioned the acne is not something I deal with, but I have thin, dry skin-ish. So when I tried a product, that's where I was like, oh, it works. Because I need to feel hydrated all the time.
Yeah, your skin looks fantastic.
Thank
Your
you.
barrier, I'm sitting 10 feet away from you and your barrier looks exquisite.
Yes.
Thank you so much. That's the new kind of compliments I want to get this year. Your barrier looks amazing.
Did you see her barrier?
Sorry,
What a sexy barrier.
I absolutely love it. I also want to mention, what blew my mind, we're all entrepreneurs here, and you guys are, I was very surprised to hear that you are bootstrapped, like you don't have any external investment, which is there are some companies, but unheard of with skin brands especially. I feel like today a lot of founders, they really want to quicken the process of building, making it bigger, and then kind of selling it. Where here I can truly feel like the integrity and the mission that you have behind the products. But I can only imagine how difficult it was to come into this market of skincare that's already so overpopulated. There's so much. How did it go for you guys when you decided to come together and you're like, okay, we're all in, we're doing this?
First of all, thank you for that. Thank you for saying that and for acknowledging that. It is nearly unheard of, and we did do it so we could keep the integrity of the products.
I recognize it right away.
Something I'm most proud of is, so Danielle grew her clinic without any social media.
I had zero Instagram.
And she was booked out for over 6 months. Like you couldn't get an appointment for at least 6 months. Like after she got I'm so glad I got in there early. I'm so glad I got in there early because she got so booked out so fast. And in the beginning days of ClearStem, Danielle was in her clinic 7 days a week, grew her clinic, no social media. I loved social media. I used to have a podcast. I used to have a blog while I was working my full-time corporate job. But something I'm most proud of is when we built ClearStem, we basically just put horse blinders on and did our own thing and didn't look at anyone else.
And that was very strategic.
Yeah.
We were like, don't pay attention to anyone else. None of them are doing it right.
We didn't follow any skincare. It's really funny because it's literally the opposite.
So hard to do.
Yeah. We didn't follow any other skincare brands. We didn't read any like skincare, like newsletters.
We didn't go to a single show for
year
6.
We didn't go to any conventions, any
Like
shows.
everything that people do, we do the opposite.
Literally.
We didn't network with anyone in skincare. We networked a ton with people. Like we had a lot of friends in food and beverage. It's just like really popular in California to start a food and beverage brand. So we had a lot of friends within that with that world and other businesses, but we didn't have any friends in skincare or beauty. Like we literally just built however we felt was right. And it's so funny to look back on now. So I'm like, thank God we did that, because we just went to the beat of our own drum and we did everything for our customer. Like that was how we did not operate by seeing how someone else built. We built for our customer. The amount of early day one-on-ones that we did, like in the beginning years, if someone was really struggling to get clear, it was clear that there was like so many acne triggers going on, we would get on Zoom calls with them and we would educate them about pore cloggers. We'd say like, okay, bring out all your supplements, show us your skincare and makeup that you're currently using. What does your diet look like? And we would do that one by one. And then we did that for the first few years. And then when COVID hit, we did them in a larger form. We would do master classes, which we still do to this day. We have not stopped since like 2019, 2020. We've been doing like almost 5 years of master classes. And we get on and we do an entire presentation about all the acne triggers. So again, we go through pore-clogging ingredients, supplements, food, and then we have a whole section for Q&A. And that gave us the platform to talk to upwards of like 800 people. We eventually realized we had to cut everyone around like 200 or 300 because we couldn't do a proper Q&A portion with that many people. A lot. So we keep it to like 200 to 300 people. That seems to be like a good amount for allowing time for Q&A. Sometimes our master classes will go 3 hours. We'll allot like an hour and a half, but
some people are serious about their skin.
And we don't our customers are just so incredible, and we want to help the most amount of people. And so the Q&A portion of our masterclass is our favorite part, where people just get to ask whatever they want. And we did that for years. So we put the consumer first. We created what we wish we would have had.
Right.
And with that, like, comes a little bit more of an individual approach, comes more empathy and just and one-on-one. And we figured out how to do some of that one-on-one at scale to help the most amount of people. But that is how we decided to grow, because that's what felt right.
Was there any point in the journey where you're like, can we really like break through, like to get to a lot of people? Or maybe, Danielle, because you built already kind of your audience and people knew you for the acne guru, it was easier to kind of penetrate that market?
We didn't look at it as like this like one singular event where it's like we know we're going to penetrate things. I feel like we just kept getting feedback from the world at large that what we were doing was right. More people needed it. Bigger people noticed. More impact was being made. And just seeing that the journey was not tied to any one particular type of person or one particular type of woman. Like, we would get doctors reaching out to us saying like, I couldn't even clear my own skin. I heard about you, tried your thing and it worked. Now I'm incorporating it in my practice and I'm healing my patients. Like when you get feedback like that in all its various forms, to keep going.
It's a green light.
Green light. I love saying that now. Go Matthew McConaughey. So I would say like just green lights all the way on this journey. We've had our moments of like, what the F just happened? Those
yields,
are fun.
those turnarounds, all these other signs.
Our first, when I first like made a huge investment into ClearStem to start developing more products and go with a big manufacturer, we did our scrub for the first time. And it's a big product. So it's a 6-ounce product. So it's more expensive to make than like a 1-ounce product. And we got the bottle back and we didn't know this. We were rookies. We chose a clear bottle. You never do that because product can naturally separate and the beads can go funny. You just don't go clear. So we did that mistake, and we didn't know that there's something called a cosmetic fill where they fill it all the way to the top, not just stop at the 6 ounces. And it's like, no duh, why wouldn't we want it filled all the way to the top? So it came looking like it was a quarter empty. And it was a clear bottle. And it was about to go on Amazon, which is in like the Wild West, and people are nuts. So we had to recall them, send them to my clinic, call my friends and sisters to refill them manually and top all these thousands of bottles off, reseal them and send them off. So we've had everything you can imagine happen.
We had like a 4 to 5 foot barrel of our product delivered to Danielle's apartment. And we had to like put on all of our gear and top them all off.
But you see, I love social media because I see so many more founders now that show those moments, right? Yeah. Because looking at you guys, I mean, this was a labor of love. It took you, how long have you been doing this for?
Almost 8 years.
8 years. There's so many things that happen throughout the journey and you changed so much. I can only imagine how your own kind of self-development, how that moved with the growing the business. Like I know I changed so much with every business and like trying to grow every business. So it's so nice to see it on social media of people getting barrels, getting their own orders, being like, I just put all this money and this is the wrong order and there's nothing I can do about it.
We just came up with a solution to the last one. It's actually a good thing. We turn everything into a good thing.
That's the thing. You become very creative with how you move around. I'm also curious about your partnership because I feel like finding the right partner in life, in business, everything, it is the hardest thing. How did you guys decide that this is the right duo?
It kind of came a little bit naturally.
It just happened.
Yeah, Danielle was already, when I met Danielle and she had fixed my skin, she was already developing what is now our Cell Renew serum for all of her clinic patients. And we were chit-chatting, and I was really passionate about non-toxic. I really saw like the industry was going to change more clean and it was going to prioritize that. So we're like chatting through formulation, everything. We're just like having fun. Then created the product, and then I was helping out with just like the website and social, and we were just kind of like having fun with it. And then I noticed that I was spending so much more time in the day not working and working on this product at the time. Originally, the product was just called ClearStem, so it wasn't even necessarily a business name because we didn't know we had a business, right? And so we were having fun with it. And then when we realized we were just flowing with what we had, we're like, let's do this. And then I would say, it's been an 8-year relationship, and in a business, a business relationship is also it's a partnership, it's a marriage, it is everything. And honestly, one of the biggest things I value in life, I value it most in our partnership, but in life, is both of our commitment to growth and communication. We are constantly working on communication, having what we call cleanup conversations, because everyone speaks, everyone receives information, hears it differently, and we really encourage that practice with our team as well. And we have such a commitment to growth and communication, and so it's kept us so strong for 8 years.
We actually have our own company therapist that we keep on staff. We've had him for about 8 years. He's an executive coach / therapist.
I love that.
Yeah. Our team is encouraged to book calls with him for personal stuff and professional development, and we have group conversations with leadership. We have our founder meetings, and it's been like the blood of the company.
Yeah. What's next for ClearStem?
2025 is going to be such an amazing year. We kind of pick different themes every year. Last year we did a ton of live master classes. This year we do have some more product launches. We are expanding our supplement profile of products because we, again, what you've heard on this podcast, we are such advocates for internal and external support as it applies to acne. It is never just one. It's not just internal. It's not just external. So we have a lot more supportive internal products that are coming out, some really exciting external ones that Danielle has been formulating for so long now that we're excited to bring them, and just really looking to expand our partnerships, expand our growth this year, and continue to reach more people who are struggling with acne, who are struggling with their skin, because clear skin really changes everything.
Absolutely.
It really does. It applies to your mental health and your confidence, and you show up differently when you're struggling with acne and when you're not. And we want to help transform people's lives and just be that support in their own journey with their bodies.
I'm ready also for the ClearStem revolution within the medical field. Like more dermatologists, to come and work as in this holistic way. That would be so nice.
It's happening.
Yeah.
It's happening. We have so many clients that are nurses.
Oh, see, that's a good sign.
Yes. Yeah. So many functional medicine people that recommend us to their patients. Like, it's our wholesale division. We've got about 2,000 wholesale accounts.
2,000, yeah.
It's really good estheticians and a huge chunk of functional medicine. There's a lot of nurses that also do skincare. It's a lot of them. It's like really elevated thinkers are the ones who sell ClearStem.
And you see, I want to finish on this high note because I think that's important. I think so many conversations that we're having around like holistic and integrative and like doing things differently than we've been doing for so many years, it always can get a bit kind of morbid where it's like the doctors just don't get it. But knowing that there are more professionals in the medical field that are open to learn more, to work with, people like you, professionals that want to change the way we've been doing things and attending to issues in a new way.
And then also, what are you doing at home? because using hot water on your skin is one of the things we educate about first and foremost.
Wait, tell me more.
Hot water on your skin, like feels so good to stand in the shower and let hot water beat on your face. Never ever do this. Stop immediately. No hot water on your face, neck, or chest. It destroys your barrier and it makes you get UV damage faster.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so most people don't, right? But you can go do a laser, especially one of the strong ones. You go home and then you're going back in the shower and using hot water on your face. You're re-burning your skin and you're completely killing the healing response that you were banking on. And that can backfire on a lot of people. I did that accidentally for years.
Cold water,
just
no problem.
Cold water in the morning is great.
But you know the dunking into like ice water?
That can be a little intense for some people. I think it's
I love it pre-event. Like
pre-event,
sure.
Like
if you need your skin to like really tighten up.
Gotcha.
I don't think you like necessarily have to do it every morning, right? I love it for a pre-event, but cool water in the morning.
Yeah,
just
anything
splashing.
extreme, don't do
we
that
stay
every
away
day.
from.
Yeah.
Okay, I love it. This is all from me. Thank you guys so much for joining me.
Thank you, Valeria.
I learned a lot. I appreciate it. Thank you. Where can our listeners find you?
Yes. So ClearStem.com. We have so many resources. We have our skin quiz that should absolutely be your first stop because you'll have a lot of this information that we've given in written form. We have a ton of blog posts as well. And then it'll also recommend what products to start with. So great place to start. And then across all social channels, ClearStemSkincare.com. Ton of education there, as well as our personals, Danielle, the acne guru, and mine, Kayleigh, Christina. We're big educators, so you'll find it across all of our platforms.
Love it. Thank you, ladies.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for watching this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. Don't miss my newest episode right here. And if you're listening to the podcast on Apple or Spotify, please go and leave a review with your biggest takeaway. I love reading your thoughts. And if you have any suggestions for guests or topics, you can leave them in the comment section. And always remember, you are not alone.